Hey there, I'm Mr. Terry. I'm a high school history teacher. Welcome back to another History Teacher Reacts video. And as your favorite Fat Electrician commentator, we are back with the newest video. It's called America's Airborne Beavers. Operation Beaver Drop. Yes, this actually happened. All right, this sounds hilarious. Like the Beavers, I'm ready to go to war. Original video link is down below. Make sure you support Fat Electrician over there, as well as on his podcast, the Unsubscribed Podcast. Special shout out to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Hope you guys are enjoying your benefits. Let's get started. Let me preface this by saying that I love beavers. I watch YouTube videos about beavers because I find their instincts and all the stuff that they do just completely fascinating. But yes, I do know that they are actually horrible for the environment and they can kill entire ecosystems, but they're still really cool. So I had to get that disclaimer out of the way. Here we go.
This is easily one of my favorite stories of all time, and it is the epitome of it's not stupid if it works.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Today we're talking about Operation
Especially in the
Beaver
military.
Drop, that time that a bunch of World War II veterans that worked for the Idaho Fish and Game Department got assigned the task of relocating a bunch of beavers to a different habitat, and they decided that the cheapest, safest, most cost-effective way to go about that was to strap them to parachutes and throw them out of a plane.
Yes! Finally. Okay, they do have to move beavers because, again, they can destroy ecosystems with their dams and they have to move them to different places. I've never thought of how you do that, but you might as well, let's just parachute their adorable butts.
Get into it right after this ad, because I got bills. This video is brought to you by Conflict of Nations, a free online PvP military strategy game. It is based on a World War III type scenario where you get to pick your own country, or you can pick a state inside of the United States, because that's really the only way to make it fair for everybody else. Otherwise, America would be the instant win. Personally, I always start out as playing Iowa for obvious reasons, and my first order
That's where
of
he's
business
from.
every single time is attacking Minnesota and turning them from Minnesota into Upper Iowa.
Hey, I'm
they
from
can't win a
Minnesota.
Super Bowl, and they're not going to win this battle. It's an easy W. But you don't have to attack. Remember, this is a strategy game. You can be diplomatic and form an alliance with another nation and work together. I mean, you could. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna build up my army with tanks, jets, and nuclear submarines and turn my attention to Wisconsin. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The nuclear submarines are not super helpful in Midwestern warfare, but that's the type of flexibility
put 'em in the Great
Conflict of
Lakes.
Nations allows. I've already taken over Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm gonna put a nuclear submarine in every one of those lakes. Anyways, if you want to give it a try, it's available on both PC and mobile. And if you use my link and discount code down below, you're gonna get 13,000 free gold.
He does such a good job with the
1-month
ads.
membership.
I got requests
Let's
to
get
make
back
sure, even though sometimes ads are removed in these videos because they don't get money per like sale, or usually most content creators don't get money for like every click they get or something like that. You're basically giving free advertising to the actual company, but get some requests to keep some of those in because of especially with someone like him who makes the ads also really funny, so more confident that way. All right, anyways, nice beavers. All right, here we go. Look at him. It's cute.
All right, let's just take this from the top. Beavers, okay, one of my favorite animals. Why? Because
Heck
I
yeah.
believe it is the animal that is most similar to humans. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, what about
They
monkeys?
work way
What
harder,
about
though.
apes? What about chimpanzees? They've all got thumbs and they poke shit with sticks and they eat bananas just like people do. That's
So we
fine.
share all their
I
DNA.
understand that they're very similar to people, but beavers are the most similar to humans in spirit. We are the only animals on the planet with the audacity to walk into a new ecosystem and be like, wow, I hate everything about this. I could A, migrate, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with option B and change everything about the world around me to make it suit me better and fuck everybody else.
Yes.
Now, do I
By the way, I'm so sad with YouTube. They're demonetizing videos with the F word and stuff, but some of these are so funny because I know in that one he would have just F'd all these and whatever. Maybe it's better for the viewers. Maybe more people will watch this if there's less swears or something, but I feel like it could have added to the humor of it. But yeah, okay. Now, okay, I'm in. We are closer to beavers. Then who cares if we share like 99% of the DNA with the gorillas and stuff?
Do I enjoy the wetlands that beavers create with their dams? No, it's not my jam. However, game recognized game, because when a beaver sees running water and is like,
You gonna do
They're
this?
like,
Okay, fine.
yeah, hell
That's
no.
all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me.
Dude, Michael's
it's
the
no
goat, by
different
the
than when
way.
it's July and it's hot out and I decide to
Sorry,
turn my air
LeBron lovers.
conditioner on so
LeBron
I can
number 2.
domesticate the wind so that my balls aren't hot, okay? It's about changing the environment around you rather than changing yourself. Okay, it's just
Yeah,
that
they hate running
species-wide
water.
main character energy of I don't need to evolve anymore. I'm perfect how I am. I'm going to evolve the world around me to some shit that I like
Let's
more.
do it.
So while I have a great childish respect for beavers, unfortunately for the beavers, between the 15, 16, 17, 1800s, their furs made dope-ass hats and they were really popular all across Europe.
Probably maybe the most valuable thing that came out of the colonization of the Americas was beaver pelts. In North America, with the colder climate, it made them thicker. So they were more full, and they were way better than the ones that come from other places. So like in Europe, the furs there weren't as good, but those North American ones, because it was a high commodity, very, very expensive commodity to get back again in Europe, those North American ones were incredible. Now, unfortunately, they you know, put them, so much of them almost to extinction. But again, now they can become more of a problem, and then they get overpopulated, and then we're like, oh, there's too many. And then we, you know, it's a weird thing we got going on with the beavers.
And the beavers were almost hunted to extinction for their pelts. Okay, and as I'm sure you can imagine, no beavers means no beaver dams. No beaver dams means no wetlands.
They can repopulate
no
pretty
wetlands
quick,
messes
though.
up the entire ecosystem. Okay, we can't have it. We got to quit killing all the beavers. So the early 1900s, people realized this. They put protections on the beavers, and we quit trying to hunt them to extinction and actually try to help encourage their population to build back up. Okay, fast forward.
Weird side note here. Do you guys know like the videos where they'll like clear up beaver dams or like clogs and drain, like Post 10? You know, that guy? Anyone else love those videos for whatever reason, where they drain clogs, and again, Beaver Dam would be one of those. I love those. It's so interesting, because you never would think if somebody had said, hey, you know what you'd really like? Watch somebody unclog something. You'd be like, yeah, you're an idiot. But then you watch it and you're like, I can't stop watching. This is so satisfying. So yeah, watching those clear
like
up the beaver dams.
Years, 1945, 1946,
and every once in a while they'll find a beaver.
Then, all the young men that went off and fought World War II are coming back home. They got a bunch of money from fighting that war. They want to get a wife, build a house, have some kids, do people things.
American
so
dream.
They start expanding. And one of the places this happens in is a town called McCall, Idaho. And they start expanding, and the town gets bigger.
I know McCall, I've been there.
And eventually it displaces a bunch of beavers that have been out in the woods doing beaver things for hundreds of years. And these new beavers get displaced, and they go out and they start fucking up a bunch of farmers' fields and irrigation systems. And it gets to the point that the people in the town are just going to start shooting these beavers because they're messing everything up. At this
gosh. One of my favorite things that I think are just so interesting about beavers is the lodges, how they build them. And again, beavers are so amazing because they're so instinctual. This stuff is buried inside of their DNA. But okay, so they fill up the water. They raise the water, they believe, because they feel it'll protect them from predators. So they can have more water to be able to do that. Because like a little stream or river doesn't help them very much. They need more protection. So dam up the place, and then you build your lodge, which will have access. And to access the lodge, you have to go underwater, which is really protecting from you know, the enemy, their enemies in nature. But that's so ingrained, is so fascinating. Same with those ones. Have you ever seen people that are like adopt them or like rescue beavers, and they keep them in their house, and they'll just start like building dams, and they've never even seen water before. All of a sudden, they're a bunch of stuffed animals and random stuff around from your house is blocking up a doorway because they have this thing ingrained in them. They have to dam up these passages. Again, even when there's not even water, it's such a fascinating thing of evolution in nature, beavers, man.
At this point, the Idaho
Never thought I'd be covering beavers.
Presumably also full of World War I and World War II veterans steps in and like, no, we're not gonna kill these beavers. These guys are awesome. They do a lot for the environment. We're gonna take them. We'll move them somewhere else where they can thrive.
We're not killing beavers. We're just relocating them.
So here's the plan. They're going to capture the beavers alive. They're going to drive them as far as they can on roads, and then they're going to pack them
so away from human civilization,
miles and miles into the wilderness where they're not going to be near any humans ever. And this is a complete disaster pretty much from the start. They capture the beavers alive, stick them in a cage, throw them on a truck, try to drive them hours and hours into the wilderness. This is really hard on them because beavers, they're a lot like me. I like to sit in my house in the air conditioning. They like to sit in their dams in the nice, damp, wet environment to keep cool. Beavers can't keep cool on the back of an unair-conditioned truck in the mid-1940s. A lot of them are getting heat stroke, they're passing out, they're dying, they quit eating, or they get super agitated and they're very combative the entire time because they're hot. Then even if the beavers do survive
like
the truck
humans.
ride, they're all pissed off and angry, and now they're getting strapped to a horse or a mule, and that pisses off the horse because he's got a bunch of angry beavers all over him, and now the horse is pissed off, and the whole thing just... it doesn't work.
You never thought the logistics of the beaver removal again would be so crazy here. So, all right, I want to see the Operation Beaver drop. What I want though to happen is like it's during a war and they drop them in an enemy area to ruin the enemy's like ecosystem and ruin their irrigation, and it gives them some kind of advantage during war. That would be awesome.
So
I don't know what's
the
happening
Fish and Game
here.
Department is like, well, what are we going to do? We got to save all these beavers. We want to get them up in the mountains so they can build their wetlands. It's going to help protect the town from flash flooding. It's going to prevent erosion. It's going to be great for the environment. We got to save these guys. And one guy at the Fish and Game Department presumably is like, I mean, I got an idea. Hear me out.
Okay.
We do have an awful lot of extra surplus parachutes from World War II laying around, and we've got a plane. Okay, now to us in 2024,
Adorable
this
drops.
sounds insane, but you gotta remember.
But here's the
this
thing,
is
though. I want each beaver to get their own cute little parachute and like little helmet and little outfit. That's what I want, not just a crate of them dropping, okay? I want to make this cute.
1948, okay? There's no OSHA. There's no, like, rules and regulations, and
Nobody
it's in
cares.
Idaho, which is basically the middle of nowhere at this point. Nobody's telling these guys what to do. A bunch of World War I, World War II veterans are like, huh, it's actually a pretty good idea, Jimmy. You know, it did work at Normandy, and the Beavers aren't even going to have Germans shooting at them, so, I mean, pretty high likelihood
Just
they'll be
rednecks.
fine. Let's try it.
Yes. Hot
So, first order of business, we got to develop a box that opens up once it hits the ground and gets the beavers to the ground safely. Pretty simple. It's basically two halves of a box with some holes drilled in it. They weave the rope through. Once the parachute lands, there's no more tension on the rope. The box just kind of falls open. The beavers get out and start doing beaver things. So first we're going to test it before we put any innocent beavers at risk. We're going to take some empty weights, put them in the boxes, go up in the plane, drop them over the practice field, see how it goes. Goes fine the first couple of times. Okay, let's try it with one beaver just for practice. So they go ahead, they pick an older male. He's out of his breeding prime, potentially dangerous to some of the younger males. If something does happen, he's lived out most of his life. They name him Geronimo because they're a bunch of meatheads and that shit's funny. So they put him in a crate, they take him up in the plane, drop him off over the practice field from 800 feet. Geronimo makes it and survives. Now, obviously, we're not going to put all our beavers in one basket because of one successful test run. We need multiple test runs to be certain that this is going to work. And now that Geronimo is technically our lucky beaver, he's going to do it again. So he does.
He's an
Geronimo
expert
does it
now.
again and again and again, and he keeps jumping, like more than 12 jumps this beaver makes. And by
Dude,
the
he's
end,
ready to go into combat. Can you get his wings or whatever? What do you get? Your thing when you're like parachute ready? What do you, how many drops you get? Yeah, dude, let's put this guy in let's put him in Normandy. All right. Or the deep CIA stuff. Drop him in the jungles of China or something.
Parks employees reported that Geronimo would actually run up to them and help them put him in the crate because he was ready to go again. Buh, this is animal abuse. And what if one of those boxes
Keyboard
didn't
warrior.
open after the parachute landed? Buh. Okay, first of all, no, it isn't. I've already went over the options. A, they could stay where they were at, being
Maybe he
displaced
loved
and end
it,
up getting
man.
shot by farmers for messing up their crops. B, they could spend days in transit on the truck and on a pack mule suffering and potentially dying. Or C, we could throw them in an airplane, fly them there in 15 minutes, and then throw them out the side. They can get their jump wings while they're doing their Band of Beavers reenactment.
Hell yeah.
It's literally the
C,
best
baby.
option. Okay, secondly, why are you worried about the
want
box
C.
not opening? Like, did you think about this at all? It's a pine box, and that's a beaver. Okay, literally the only animal in the animal kingdom known for cutting down trees with its fucking face.
Yeah.
I have the utmost confidence that if one of those boxes
It's just food.
malfunctions, the beaver is going to figure it out. All right,
Yeah.
so now they have their beaver
For sure.
delivery method. They develop a plan. They pick out a bunch
It's like being dropped inside of a hamburger. Probably I would consume that before I even get out.
different locations all over this wooded area where they're going to be able to drop these beavers off in groups of like 3 to 5, 2 males, 3 females, 1 male, 3 females, something like that, enough that they're going to be able to rebuild their own little colonies, but they're going to be spread out enough that they're not going to congregate into one thing, and it's going to be a humongous boost to the beaver population.
I do want to know the
conservation's all
effectiveness,
about. So
though.
they get that all figured out. They have the plan in place. They know the delivery method. Now they just got to go catch all the beavers. So they go back to town, catch them all. There's 76 of them. They take them back. They start loading them in crates, and they're going to take them up in the plane and throw them out the side. And here's the best part about the whole thing. They filmed it.
Into the drop box. Nearly ready for that flight back into the mountain.
And this is where you can really start to see that this is a different time. I mean, look at this absolute Chad just manhandling this beaver into that crate with no safety equipment, no gloves, no eye pro, nothing. If this were modern day, that guy would have leather protective gloves up to his elbow. He'd have safety glasses with a hard hat, with a face shield, with a leather apron. He'd have 2 dudes holding his hand while he did it just to make the safety guy happy. No, this is just some angry war veteran throwing a beaver into a box like it's another 8-hour workday. It's fantastic.
Hey, beavers are vicious though. Like when you try to mess with their dam and stuff, they take it personal. They can be vicious. Those teeth, man, those are, Those are weapons.
That's it. They get the beavers loaded up on the plane. The plane takes off. They drop all the beavers in their designated drop zones. 75 out of the 76 survived. I don't know how they know this. I'm assuming they had people on the ground at the different drop locations to make sure the boxes opened or that the beavers made it or whatever. But
one
apparently
died,
the one
though?
beaver that didn't make it had somehow either slipped through the crack when the rope was loose or eaten his way out of the box after they let it out of the plane. And the beaver was last seen standing on top of the box with the parachute above him, and he probably would have been fine, except when he got 75 feet off the ground, he decided to jump.
Dumbass beaver.
So on one hand, that's kind of sad, but on the other hand, natural selection. If the other 75 beavers figured it out and you didn't, it's probably on you. On a happier note, though, the boys at the Fish and Game Department
strengthened his
decided to
gene
hook
pool.
up their lucky beaver, Geronimo. This is posted in the Journal of Wildlife Management, Volume 14, Number 2, April of 1950. The article, Transplanting Beavers by Airplane and Parachute by Elmo W. Heater, Idaho Fish and Game Department.
Dude, the Idaho Fish and Game Department guy is named Elmo Heater. That is perfect. He is exactly where he should be and what he should be doing. And especially if he was like a war vet, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Sometimes your name just destines you for certain things in life.
Idaho. And I quote, Geronimo had a priority reservation on the first ship into the hinterland, and that with 3 young females went with him. They had to hook up their boy.
Let's go.
Apparently they went to check in on him a couple years later, and his new colony was, and I quote, very well established.
Yeah.
And Geronimo was not unique in that, because pretty much every drop zone ended up turning into a thriving beaver colony in the following years, because they kept tabs on this entire thing. And not
Geronimo was not retiring from all the other stuff beavers do. Okay, there's a lot of reasons they're called, it's called being busy as a beaver. And Geronimo, he's it, man. He is it.
Did it work? It was also super cost effective, because according to this journal, the cost of transplanting one of these colonies was $30. It was $2 for the box, $16 for the surplus cargo parachute, and the flight time, man hours, and fuel totaled to $12 for a total of $30 per colony. And just to be clear, that's the actual crazy part about this story. It's not the fact that they actually had airborne beavers to go save the environment. No, that seems pretty reasonable. The crazy part is that these guys back in the 1940s managed to get the job done, have fun, and record it, and they did it for like $300 to $500. Because we all know in modern times,
for the love of the
if they wanted
game
to do this, there'd have to be like a 15-year-long environmental impact study that costs the U.S. taxpayers $25 million.
There'd be a lot of red tape.
Just so that the government could determine that if you drop beavers off in the forest, they will in fact do what beavers do. And then once the government goes ahead and says it is in fact okay to put beavers in the woods, it's going to take another 10 years for Lockheed Martin and Boeing to bid on the contract worth $100 million to relocate 100 beavers into the woods.
Is it just me?
It's so true, because he's just going through all the government red tape and the overspending and all the corruption that goes with these types of projects. Just get some rednecks, a few bucks, and they'll get it done.
Or was that the stupidest?
Oh, an angry
Relocate
beaver. Speaking of
100
which,
beavers into the woods.
Is it just me?
Or was that the stupidest thing we've ever seen?
Sorry, I'm ranting. In conclusion, the moral of the story is if it sounds dumb, but it works, it's not that dumb. And sometimes it's ridiculously cost effective to just let people do their job. Also, beavers are cool, and airborne beavers are even cooler. And this has been the story of America's band of beavers, the airborne paratrooper beavers that went in to save the environment. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over to fatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
final thoughts. Now, I know it wouldn't be cost effective to, give gear and all the things to all the guys and all the beavers individually. But I think Geronimo, like I said at the beginning, he needs to get decked out. I want this guy in this war helmet. He's got his wings now because what did he make? 12 jumps before he gets his final jump. And they knew he'd be good. So they put him with 3 other girl beavers because they know he's going to get down to business. I think he should get a cool, like some kind of clothes, a jacket with his wings on it, something. I think that guy needed to. He's like the captain of the Beavers. I love Geronimo. All right. Fun little story there out of American history. I enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this, give this video a like. Be sure to sub over to the Fat Electrician, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.